All right, hey, I think let's move on to the speaker at this point. Major Norton, thank you for your patience. This is all new to everybody, so we're starting a little late, but you can have a little more time on the back end, so no problem.
Yep.
Carrie, would you like to introduce Major Norton?
Yes, I would love to. So just have a little introduction, a small bio of our divisional commander, Major Darren Norton. So let me just say that real quick. So in July of 2018, Major Darren Norton was appointed Divisional Commander of the Salvation Army Golden State Division. Based in San Francisco, the Golden State Division covers all the Salvation Army operations in the 16 counties of Central California. Darren is married to Mary, also a major in the Salvation Army, and they have been Salvation Army leaders for 23 years, with previous appointments in Salem, Oregon, Pasadena, California, and San Diego, California. Majors Darren and Mary have 4 children and recently became empty nesters. Major Darren was born and raised in London, England, and enjoys soccer, Indian food, and a good cup of tea. He's an amazing leader, and I'm really happy and honored that he's here joining us at the Breakfast Club. So,
great. Well, thank you, Carrie, and good morning, everybody. Hopefully, everyone can see me and hear me this morning. It's a pleasure for me. Thank you, President Craig, for allowing me to speak and to be your first virtual speaker for the Golden Gate Breakfast Club. This is very exciting. Actually, it's not my first meeting with you. Maybe a little over a year ago, I came as a guest with John McKnight. And John invited me, so I did attend one of your meetings and just had a terrific time. And even hearing your introductions, it's great to see so many of you. I've only been in San Francisco about 18 months, but already I recognize many of your faces. Some of you are on our boards and councils, are volunteers for our committees and events. And some of you I recognize from our events. And so it's great to be with you this morning. It was shared, I was born and raised in England, and I checked on my UK news app this morning and found out that Prince Charles has tested positive for the coronavirus, and I'm sure Patricia is aware of that already. And so this virus is really no respecter of persons. It's a pandemic that is changing our world rapidly. And so it's a pleasure for me just to share a little bit about what's going on here in San Francisco. But before I get into locally, maybe I can just start by, I just wrote down 3 things I maybe just want to share as kind of background for you in relation to the Salvation Army and the coronavirus. I want to say first off that I think that the Salvation Army is one of the best positioned organizations to address human need during the time of this crisis. You may not be aware, but the Salvation Army is actively serving in 131 countries around the world. You'll notice the same uniform. We have the same structure. We have the same mission, no matter where you go in the world. And so this global pandemic, which is affecting literally every country in the world, the Salvation Army is active in all of that. In the USA, the Salvation Army is serving people in basically every zip code. The Salvation Army has a presence and a ministry, and we have services to people in need. We have a structure that, while can be a little slow for those of us on a day-to-day basis trying to push things through new programming and things like that, when it comes to a crisis, our network and our structure actually becomes a great strength for us. It becomes something that allows us to operate quickly, to mobilize our units, our vehicles, to repurpose our facilities. And during times of crisis, we are there for people. We're active, and we are helping. So I want to suggest to you that of all organizations, the Salvation Army is one of the best positioned to really meet the needs during time of crisis, and certainly during this. The second thing I just wanted to share at the beginning here would just be to say the Salvation Army is not new to crisis and disasters such as these. The Salvation Army here in San Francisco has been in operation since 1883. We've been here 137 years. So we have been with the people of San Francisco through all of the major events, all of the major disasters here locally, nationally, for that time. And we have been, I think, a faithful, stable, consistent organization that has leveraged our resources and our funds and our people and everything that we have to serve people in time of crisis. So I also think that is just important to recognize these days of crisis is not new for us. This is what we do. This is why we exist. And we are for many, many thousands and thousands of people, millions across the country, a stable source of consistent hope and service and practical help for people in need during crisis. So that's not new to us. And then the third thing I would just say up front is that our unique mission really allows us to step into a place of greater service during times of crisis. The unique mission of the Salvation Army is, very briefly, our mission is to proclaim the gospel of Jesus Christ and to meet human needs in his name without discrimination. And so while we are very known for the practical services, the housing, the shelter, the food programs, the meals, the youth activities, the education programs, all of those programs that we serve, but behind that we come with a mission of providing emotional and spiritual care to people. So all of our officers are ordained ministers and that leading our programs, and we are able to leverage in times of crisis when people are fearful and uncertainty and anxiety is reigning. Not only can we provide the practical assistance that's needed, but we are also available to help bring a sense of peace and calmness, to speak some truth and to provide, care, emotional, spiritual, to pray with people and to offer a sense of community and bringing people together. We're in the time of social distancing. Mm-hmm. And so the Salvation Army is able to bring a sense of connection, community, spiritual care to people during times where we are isolated. So I would just, by way of intro, just kind of mention those three things to share with you. A week ago, San Francisco and some of our surrounding counties were all put on a shelter in place. Only essential services are expected to be existing. And I'm here to tell you that the Salvation Army is an essential service for people in need. And so we are today open and operational here in San Francisco and throughout the country. Our doors are open. We're doing things a little differently because we're following local, city, county, state mandates, but we are open and operational. Why? Because people are still in need. And I was thinking, during this pandemic crisis that we're in, hunger does not take 3 weeks off. Mm-hmm. Poverty has not taken vacation and says to people, I'll see you on April 7th when we get out of this shelter and hope. The truth is that hunger, poverty, basic human needs are existing in people's lives side by side with the pandemic crisis. And so the Salvation Army provides essential services to people in need. And we're providing that primarily today in the form of shelter, of housing, and then in food and meals. Yes, we've adapted our operations. There's some things that we are not doing right now. So any of our congregate programs, our senior centers that bring seniors together for activities and for community, obviously we've had to stop those. We had some congregate meals in the city where we brought people together. We've had to stop those. Our after school programs, obviously we're not doing those at this time. So we are being very careful and cautious and following every city and county mandate to protect not only our own staff and volunteers, but obviously the people we serve. But when it comes to essential services, we are open and in operation. And so this morning, over 700 people in the city of San Francisco woke up in a Salvation Army bed, over 700, between 700, 750. And those programs are critical to those people's lives. And so we are committed to keeping those programs, those shelters, those housing programs open and operational. One of our largest is low-income seniors. We have apartments for low-income seniors. We have about 286 apartments throughout the city, primarily in the Soma district area. We do have a few in Chinatown. This is not a nursing facility, it's not a care facility. These are independent living apartments for low-income seniors in a partnership that we have with HUD. These are our most vulnerable population, and so they have obviously been ordered to stay indoors, but we continue to look for new ways to serve those people and to help provide food for them, to help provide meals to them while they can't get out themselves to provide that. So we're offering some new services there. We have officers that are oversee our Soma facility on 4th Street. Our Silvercrest residence for these seniors is right next door, and so they are taking food boxes to the residents with some of their volunteers. They're putting them on carts, they're walking them down the halls, knocking on the door. The volunteer or the officer, they're taking 10 paces aside, the residents opening the door, taking the food box, they're having a little conversation, sharing back and forth, making sure everything's okay, and then they are going on to the next room. So we are providing that in a new way because we don't have our centers open. Our Harbor Light Center is probably our critical program, our flagship program in the city. It's about 240 to 250 beds that we serve there, a variety of programs. We have a family shelter with 30 apartments that can handle up to 150 people. We have a recovery wellness or detox program for 30 individuals. And then we have about another 66 beds in our a treatment center for men and for women. So we are continuing to serve the people there. We are open. We are closing down the borders. We are obviously ensuring that it's a safe place. Shelter in place is activated there. So we are keeping people safe. We're eliminating any visitors and people kind of going back and forth outside as much as we can. We are holding from bringing new families or new individuals into the center as much as possible while we keep that place secure. Obviously, we're doing things a little differently inside. We're separating the congregate meals, people eat together, so we're making adjustments to that. Our group meetings are all being done with social distancing in mind, but we are continuing to serve and to reach out to those people and protect them and keep them safe. We also have 135 beds at our adult rehabilitation center, primarily up in the Mission District. We have 110 beds for men, 125 beds for women. That program is a work therapy program, and that is connected to our family thrift stores in town. Now, we've had to close those stores, obviously, because of the local directives. We don't want people coming together. And so that has changed things for us. So we've obviously keeping the men and women in that program in the facility where they are housed. There's a warehouse. We're still accepting donations. Our trucks are not going to home to pick up donations at this point. We are allowing people to drop off donations for us in a safe environment. And so the men and women are still actively working to receive donations, to sort them, and they are obviously undertaking their classes for addictions, for anger management, for family therapy. And we are still graduating people, but we are not allowing new people into that program at this time, certainly while we're in the midst of this crisis. And as things evolve and change, we're obviously working things through. I did hear yesterday that our food distributor for that program, Cisco, dropped off 13,000 pounds of fresh produce, way more than they need. And so because the trucks are not driving around the streets picking up donations from your homes, the trucks now are able to take that food, and our first priority is to get it over to these seniors that are on kind of lockdown in our facilities. So we'll be today delivering fresh produce into those facilities. We'll get volunteers to separate that, put it on carts, and wheel that around the building and get it safely to people so that they can access some of that fresh produce. So these are things we can quickly be flexible on and work to create safety for everybody that is involved with that. And then finally, our Railton place in the Tenderloin, we have the Railton Croc Center. Railton is 110 units of housing. 55 of those are permanent supportive housing for homeless individuals. The other 55 are a transitional 2 to 3 year length housing, broken down. Some rooms are for veterans, some are for sober living, some are for aged out foster youth. And so we obviously are keeping that program up and running. It is obviously their individual unit, so those people are in a safe place. We're limiting people entering and exiting, of course. We are in the same as we are with the Silvercrest residents, providing food and making sure that they have their needs met so that no one has to exit to even head to a local grocery store as much as we can avoid that. And so that program is going. The Croc Center facility, which is a beautiful gym. It is education. It's a fitness center. It provides health and wellness for families. Obviously, that whole center is basically shut down at this time. We do not want people coming in from the community and mingling together, and so that is on shutdown. Although I'm happy to tell you, again, starting on Monday, the Croc Center will open to provide emergency daycare for 25 kids for children of our first responders and our health professionals. So that's a program with Department of Children, Families and Youth. Will be opening a 25 child emergency day center only for our first responders and for medical professionals beginning Monday. And so we will transition the Croc Center into that type of a facility to help with that. We have a weekly food distribution as well in partnership with the San Francisco Marin Food Bank. And that's how we provide our food boxes primarily to people. We don't do it necessarily on a day-to-day basis, but we do mass distribution with significant food boxes. And so we're ramping up Thursday and Friday of this week. We're preparing for 650 plus households to come to us. We have distribution sites in Soma, in the Tenderloin, in Chinatown. And so we'll have 650 food boxes prepared and ready to go out to households in the community. Obviously, we're doing things differently with masks and gloves and social distancing, and we're doing everything we can to protect our officers and our volunteers and our staff. And so we're just open and we're serving, and we're doing what we can during these days of crisis to keep things going. We have a number of facilities. So one of the blessings that the Salvation Army has in the communities, because we've been here so long, we have over years accumulated a number of properties. So we own 14, 15 properties. We've made all of our properties available to the state, to city, to county. If there's any need for quarantine sites, for storage facilities, for training facilities, for case management, then we have made our facilities all open and available to state, local, county reps for any needs that we can assist with. We have 4 church congregations, Salvation Army congregations in San Francisco. They've all gone to digital and virtual services. So this is all very new for us, but they are keeping in contact with their congregation members in a new way. And so we are, as you can see, very, very busy. We're doing everything we can to just assess the situation daily, to be flexible to respond to needs as they come arise, to protect and continue the critical services that we offer. And like we all are, we're just managing this a moment by moment, day by day, and just being ready for whatever the future holds to continue to be this consistent organization to support people in need. So I guess that's my brief overview. I know the time has kind of gone over a little bit. I'm not sure if there's any questions or if you eager to wrap up the meeting here, but that's my brief report for you. Thanks for your attention. Craig, how do you feel?
Well, thank you, for the presentation. It was great. And when did the Salvation Army come to San Francisco? Was it 1883? You said?
Yes, 1883.
Wow, you're part of a tremendous legacy.
Yeah.
That and you guys do such a great job.
Thank you.
A lot of us in the club are affiliated or we support the Salvation Army, and we actually went over to the it's a navigation center. What's the term?
There are navigation centers in the city, but we don't run a navigation center.
No. It was the one over on South of Market. It's the
our senior facility, Harbor Light.
Harbor Light, yeah.
Yeah, Harbor Light. Yeah.
I'm sorry. Yeah, we did a field trip to Harbor Light, and it was fantastic. Right. Yeah, and it was really impressive. Yeah. So
thank you.
This was great. Why don't we open it up for questions? You guys have questions? We can. Anyone have a question for Major Norton?
Well, one, thank you for your presentation and your contribution to our city. I did not know about Prince Charles.
Okay.
So, no doubt my brother will tell me when I call him in 30 minutes. My concern is the homeless. Their challenge is to keep clean. I know that you're helping feed them, but what can they do to get the services they need?
Yeah. Well, this is the dilemma. We're obviously in close contact with both the Department of Public Health, with homelessness and supportive housing agencies. We do have facilities that are available to put people in. We have warehouses, we have gymnasiums, things like that. And in the past, we have been able to open those for emergency disaster situations. If there's been a fire and things like that, we've taken people in on an emergency basis. The concern is that the CDC, the Center for Disease Control, is saying that unless you have individual rooms or apartments for people, it is not healthy to take a group of people off the street and just put them into a mass place with a roof over. They're actually saying it's better that we provide hand washing and food and keep them where they're at. So obviously we're working with the city. You met Theo Ellington. He's our director of homeless initiatives. We have a tremendous plan to help use our facilities in the future to add beds, to create more Salvation Army services for people in need. But at this time, we're in tandem with the city. It sounds like the city are going to, based on the CDC guidelines, are looking to open up hotel rooms and move some homeless into individual rooms, which is what the guidelines are, that we don't create this pandemic, an outbreak within the homeless community. And so we're obviously standing ready. We have facilities ready to offer to the city. And if it comes that that people are going to be put in hotels, then we stand ready to provide meals, to provide supportive services in that way. So, but you're right, Patricia. It's our biggest concern for the people on the streets for a possible outbreak. They are our most vulnerable population, together with the seniors. And it's certainly a group that we're praying for every day. And we just stand ready to assist the city and the county with whatever the Salvation Army can do. We will marshal every resource that we have to support in whatever is best for that group. Good question.
Any other questions?
I have a question. Where are those hotels that you just mentioned? Are they in the city?
I don't know. I'm not sure. I just was briefed yesterday that I don't know if Theo wants to chime in at all here, but I believe that in today or in the next day or two, the city will be rolling out a more of a plan for what's just the homeless. Because I think we all realize that this, we haven't even peaked in the crisis yet, the pandemic. We've got probably a couple of weeks of really difficult days before us. So, Theo, I heard you chiming in there.
Yeah, just real briefly. The city passed a resolution at the last Board of Supervisors meeting to officially negotiate with hotels. I know they're working with the unions to figure out sort of staffing mechanisms. They put out a call. I think the hotels collectively responded. And there's about 8,000 rooms that have been made available. Like I mentioned, the unions are now talking through staffing, and service providers are talking through resources. The challenge is that there are very stringent sort of details that have to all work into play for these hotels to work out. Central air, central heating is not ideal because the virus can then spread through the vents, et cetera. You look at communal space, and you look at other things where folks are gathering. They want to limit that as much as possible. So the city's working through those minor details before they reach out to us for specifics around providing services.
This is Bert. I've got a question. Harbor Light's coming up. Have you figured out how you're going to have a virtual celebration or dinner or anything like that, or just cancel it altogether?
Well, we have canceled. So the Harbor Light program has had an annual fundraising dinner called the Lighting the Way dinner. This was our 79th annual year. We had it all locked in at the Marines Memorial for April the 8th. So obviously we've had to cancel that event. And because of the uncertainty of the days ahead and where we're going, we've had to kind of pull that back. We're grateful that we have a couple of sponsors that really help to undergird the cost of that, and they have allowed us to keep their donation. In fact, the director of our Harbor Light Center, Major David Pierce, did go online and has posted a clip expressing appreciation, letting people know that we have had to cancel that, and just inviting people, if they had purchased a table or made that, if they would still allow their contribution to go to the work of the Harbor Light right now. But yeah, the event has been canceled for this year, unfortunately. But we'll have lots of stories to tell when we put the next one in place.
Do we have anyone else? Any other questions?
Yeah, I would just like to add to that. For those who would like to help support the Salvation Army and the mission in all these different ways and these programs that Major Darren mentioned, you can go to our website. I think, Carrie, you can actually email the various ways that do some links on our websites and inform people how they can support the Army.
All right.
Sure.
Thanks, Ernst.
Thank you.
All right. Well, unless anyone else has any other questions, why don't we end the meeting? And Darren Norton, again, thank you for joining us and sharing. And, we wish you well in supporting our community right now. And if anyone knows anybody that can help support the Salvation Army, please get them in touch with Carrie or Darren Norton. Antonio? Oh.
Quick comment here, guys. For folks who are doing meetings on Zoom throughout the week besides this meeting, if you send them to me, if you email them to me, we can do a bulletin with all the various Zoom groups that are meeting during the course of the week, so folks can feel free to log into them and spend more time together during the course of the week in between meetings. So if you have a Zoom meeting where people are invited to come join to learn something or some other engagement just to keep you active, why don't you send me the link and we'll post it in the bulletin. We'll send that out so folks have those links, and also emergency resources that are available to folks. Let's start using the bulletin to start letting folks know what's going on. So things for the Salvation Army or any other groups, Rotary, what have you. Send me links to websites for emergency information. Send me links for Zoom calls. Just send them over to me and we'll start putting it in the bulletin, and we'll do more regular bulletin posting. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. President Craig, before we give Darren take off our microphones and wild applause, I hope that this will be a regular Zoom get together every week until we meet in person.
Oh, I think absolutely. Until we have the green light to meet together, let's just make this a normal staple of our regular breakfast club. We'll do this every week. And we'll have to change it around a little bit. I learned a few things today, because people want to talk. So we'll have to kind of reel that in a little bit. And then also, I think it's important for our members and our guests. Next week, we'll do the same thing. So please follow up with people that aren't here, or if you would like to, come back, or you have somebody else you'd like to bring with you. We'll open it up to more people. So I just want to encourage everyone to reach out to our community. and just let them know that we haven't forgotten about them. And we look forward to seeing everybody next week. And we'll send out information through various sources. Right, Antonio?
Yes, yes. Also, one thing too, you guys, if you have your Nextdoor account, if we'll get these links here for the next meeting, you could post, I think you should be able, and I did it last night, post the link to this meeting in your Nextdoor account.
That's a good idea.
So folks from your local community can come and join the Zoom calls as well.
Yep. And
Craig,
I can say something for next week. I am in the process of organizing our guest speaker for next week will be Jin. I don't have his last name right now, but he's a Japanese boat builder. He's building a reed boat at the Sausalito Yacht Club. He's working with Tom Kowalski, one of our members. He'll be visiting us and talking to us from Tokyo, Japan. So that's 16 hours ahead of us.
Wow.
He will be live talking with us on Zoom next week.
Yeah.
Great.
Forward to that.
Yeah, that's, you raised a good point, Tony, because people can come and visit our club from anywhere in the world. So there's no geographic limitation on this format.
Yes,
Right.
much like the disease, there is no discrimination. We'll take anybody can come.
Craig, I'd like to also remind people that Jorge works 3 jobs, and I don't know about the rest of the staff, but if there's something that people are willing to do to support him while they're out of work, I think that would be wonderful.
Have you talked to Jorge or anybody?
No, I just talked.
Yeah.
I know that he runs 3 jobs. That's all.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think that's a larger discussion, but maybe what we could do is you and I can talk offline and we can put out something to the members. Would that?
That would be great. That'd be great.
Yeah, thank you for bringing that to our attention.
Okay.
Anyone else?
Thank you, Teresa, for your comments in chat.
All right, well, I guess that's it. Let's go ahead and again, let's give Major Norton a wide applause. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well done. We really appreciate you joining us.
Thank you.
All right. You guys have a great day, and be sure to follow up with all the members that aren't here. Just give somebody a call today. And
That's the point. Make a call.
Yeah. All right.
A historic day.
Great.
All right. Bye, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
All right.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.
Huh?
Make sure you hang up.
Well,
Yeah.
hang up.
Yeah, please make sure you hang up.
Hang up. Stop video.
Leave meeting. Hey, Betty.
Hi, how are you?
Good. Yourself?
Good. Lower right-hand column or corner of the screen if you're on a computer to
Yeah.
leave meeting. Okay, bye guys.
Bye. Talk to you soon.
Tony, one thing that's really good is you can hear everybody clearly at the
Yep.
meetings. It's really hard.
Yeah, it
So
is.
this was great. You could really focus and concentrate. So
Yes, very much so. Just got to come up with a way to get everybody in there. So, all right.
Christopher,
Tony,
Bye.
commendations. Thank you for all you've done.
thanks for doing this.
My pleasure. Y'all have a
Nice
good,
to see
great
you.
week.
Take care. Maybe
I'm
we'll
gonna-
have 100 next week. 100.
Yes.
We had 35 today, so let's see how let's go for a goal of 100 next week.
I didn't send out my normal email to over 100 people, so now I can at least put this in how well it works.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
good.
All right, great. Thank you all for
Bye.
attending. We'll talk to you next
Oh,
week.
Tony, I just want to say that I'm in a movie group and we did a Zoom chat, and I did a Zoom chat with my team meeting. We do a team meeting every day,
Uh-huh.
so I figured out how to do it. So
Excellent.
yeah, it works well, I think.
Yeah.
I'll try to do it again.
Yeah, it's definitely good to keep contact and
Yeah.
people. So I've got to go to work. So it's wonderful.
I'm working away. Okay,
Thank you, Tony.
bye.
I'll have fun.